beginning of a phrase or the end of a phrase, right? The cool thing about being the drummer is we have to be really aware of the space and the articulation of these things. So what I mean by the space is usually there's space before these figures that we get to use to help the band play those rhythmic unisons more accuracy. If I do this, what part is the band playing with? Does that kind of make sense? This is one of those most basic cliches you'll hear. I didn't tell a good joke, but do you know what I mean? This is the space before that. Does that kind of make sense? So this is one of the simplest cliches you guys will play on the drums, is playing something to fill that space so everybody knows when to play next, right? The biggest thing with shots and setups is the sticking patterns and being aware of the tempo and idiom you guys are in. And again, I've got a Dropbox full of a million exercises if you guys want more material in this. We're already at 10 o'clock. Step number 7. I think usually drummers, this is one of my favorite things too about drummers, is I want you guys to count 4 bars of rest for me, okay? I'll count you in, you guys all count 4 bars of rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I said count, I didn't say breathe. Let's hear your voices. Okay? Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome. So I heard a lot of you keeping track of the bar you're in by changing the beat 1 to the number of the bar you're in, right? This is a very typical thing that drummers do. I have a violent analogy when you guys are percussionists. I have a violence analogy that I try to pass on. I want you to keep in mind I don't condone violence, but I need you guys to bring, when you're counting rests, and alternately when you're counting phrases, you guys need to bring sniper energy. Okay? You are in a tree for 3 days. You can't go to the bathroom. You have 1 shot, and you can end the war. Okay, this is how intensely I want you to count count rests and count phrases. So what do I mean by counting a phrase? What is a phrase?
It's like a set of measures or bars that has a musical, like, complete musical melody or statement.
Yeah.
Finishes one and then moves on to another.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're listening up. I like this. We're getting comfortable. Yeah, excellent. Anybody else have any ideas about phrases?
They're just cool.
They're just cool. Yeah.
It's a complete musical idea, is what I was trying to say.
Okay. So one of the cliches you guys will hear all the time is music is a language, right? I think of a phrase kind of like a sentence, right? And I think of the words in the phrase like 8 bars of music, right? What happens at the end of that 8 bars usually for us as drummers?
Like a fill or something.
A fill. So I think of the fill kind of like a punctuation mark. Is it a question mark? Is it an exclamation mark? Is it a period? Is it a comma? Is it a colon? Is it a semicolon? Right? Like, how many different ways can we end that succinct little phrase, right? So one of the big things I hear drummers not doing is, or doing, is getting lost in phrases and forms. Who has any idea of some kind of jazz form? What is a form for a song or a jazz form? Who's got something? Swing? That's a genre or a style or a groove. A blues. See, this is amazing. So what is a blues? Bossa Nova is a style. How long is a blues phrase?
We've talked about this.
Yeah?
I completely forgot.
Have you guys heard of the term 12-bar blues?
Yes.
Oh!
Yes. Yes. So what is my words? What do my words mean when I say 12-bar blues?
Triplets for each thing. For like each.
Close.
You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, but like every one of them is a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh.
Yes. So it means that 1, 2, 3, 4 count all the way up to 11, 2, 3, 4, 12, 2, 3.
One,
Okay, does that make sense? So we were playing a 12-bar phrase, and the cliche says we play a fill or something at the end of that phrase to help the band lead the band into the next phrase, right? That's not necessarily always true, right? Rules are made to be broken, and there's different kinds of blues. Another very typical jazz form. Have you guys heard the phrase A-A-B-A before?
Yes.
What does it mean? No, they're not. They're not note names. What's up?
It's A is like an idea or melody, and it repeats every time there's an A. It's the same thing, and then B is something else.
Yeah. Does that kind of make sense? So typically, a lot of jazz forms have an A section that is 8 bars long, right? Then we have another A section that is also 8 bars long. We have a B section that is 8 bars long, and then we repeat the A section. And that chunk of information is like a paragraph. Does that kind of make sense? And these kind of forms like that are something that I think a lot of drummers ignore and kind of get lost in a lot of times. So this is another phase that when I hear somebody, I'm like, oh, they don't really know where they are in the song. They're playing along by ear, and they probably have learned things by rote. Our instincts, actually, a lot of times as drummer, our instincts are good and help us lead us down the right path. But if we want to add detail and depth to what we're doing, we have to start to learn what these things are, these forms. Okay. Okay. The next step 8 that I kind of generally hear is we're kind of getting to this intermediate and heading into having a vocabulary. A lot of times there's this whole rudimentary tradition that some drummers how many of you guys are marching drummers or snare drummers? Yeah? So some drummers come from that tradition and some drummers don't. I was never in a marching band. I was in big bands and orchestral bands as a kid a lot, and I wasn't really exposed to rudiments as hello?
There's a 10-minute warning.
10-minute warning? Okay, I am warned. Okay, then we're on number 8. Again, I have a whole bunch of stuff set up in a Dropbox and some playlists and stuff that kind of get into this rudimentary tradition on the drum set. Okay, step 9. We're starting to get into college for most kids. Transcriptions. Who has written out something from their favorite drummer? What did you write out?
Just from a set of lyrics from. I still don't know his name, the guy in the David Brubeck quartet.
Oh, okay, cool. Joe Morello. Okay, it might have been him. There's a couple guys. Most likely. Who else? Cool. I love it. So transcriptions. What does a transcription do?
It's kind of like a funky figure all over the way.
Yeah. So I think of a transcription as the difference between being able to speak a language and being able to write a language. And what does writing do for us as human beings? Why did we invent all these many hundreds of forms of different kinds of writing? It's boring. What does it do?
It records your thoughts down.
Yeah, absolutely. It enhances and extends our memory, and it also helps us to kind of layer on this concrete, concrete record of what we know. Does that kind of make sense? Again, going back to my earlier analogy, the map is not the territory. There's no if you were to write something out and it was to make the sound as you were writing it out, that's about as close as we can get to what we're actually listening to, right? We're getting there. Okay, step 10. This is a kind of deeper chest here, guys. Ear training. Who has done ear training? Yeah. Okay. Why? Do you guys play piano by any chance? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I get drummers who have played piano, they win all the games. They're better readers. They have done ear training. They know what a interval is. They know what a chord is. If I write out a 12-bar, simple 12-bar blues, they go plink, 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 and hear it and turn it into music. So this is a really important step, and it goes back to learning forms and learning melodies, and it's something that is really vital to, again, the language of jazz. Even though we're playing an instrument that isn't necessarily explicitly melodic or harmonic, the more you know and the more you can retain about those aspects of music, the better you'll be able to relate. And again, for a drummer, it's more implicit knowledge. I think about this as being like, again, the subtext, the eye contact in the conversation, right? And you don't have to be perfect at it, right? But do something. Like that's the biggest thing for me with drummers, especially young drummers who are really, really learning a lot about the instrument and love the instrument. Okay. And then my step 11. You guys will love this. Begin again. I did a clinic in Banff on Tuesday, and one of my first questions, just to kind of get a grip on where everybody's at and where I need to go, what I need to teach was like, who has played before, and like, and I had where are you guys at, like, level wise, and I had a student go hold up their hands. I'm like, I'm really good, like I know a lot. And I was like, cool, man, I'm still learning myself. And a couple of students took that as me saying, oh, he's a beginner. Why is a beginner teaching us, right? And it's like, no, this is a never-ending process. The wonderful, terrible thing about playing an instrument of any kind, in any kind of music, is that there is no end to what we can learn and what we can do. And there's constant refining and adding to our knowledge about this instrument. Any questions? Anything left over? Okay, I'm going to pass this around because the biggest thing, guys, if you're comfortable, give me your emails. I promise not to spam you. And I'll send some YouTube playlists and some Dropbox links to a whole bunch of exercises and this list of things that I talked about too. I don't know if you guys are going to stick around, but one of my favorite drummer in town, John McCaslin, is going to get up here and like do the real thing. I barely played, but this dude's the real deal. He's an encyclopedia of jazz, and there's a lot to be learned. And I hope you guys just get to listen to him and hear him, rather than listen to me talk. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for.
All right, we have about 20-ish minutes till next clinic starts. If you want to either go up, check out the retailers that we have there. Brandenburg showed up, so there's more swag if you want to go check that stuff out. If you have not signed the drum head, please go sign it as well.
Any questions, guys?
Yes.
We still got a couple minutes. What's up?
Just like improv.
Yes.
Like any tips for that? Not something.
One of the biggest things that I found helpful, and I still find helpful, is to be able to sing a melody when you're improvising. Like, and you know that call and response thing? You don't have to do that with somebody else. You can do that internally. If I go doo-ba-doo-da, da-ba-doo-da, you know what I mean? You can make up a call and response melody in your head and just express those things on the drums. And try to play melodies on the drums. You know what I mean? It's one of those games that is never ending. You know what I mean? Like, again, and play with people. You know what I mean? Play with, if you have a bass player buddy or a guitar player buddy or a saxophone player buddy, get together with them just one-on-one and just improvise. That's the only way you get better at that game is by doing it, right? It's like if you ask me how to get better at chess, I explained what all the pieces move, you would not be better at what that was. But if I sat down and I played 80 hours of chess with you, you get better, right? You got to do it, and singing melodies is the best way to start. Okay? Anybody else have questions?
Last year, we did the triangle.
And if you're not comfortable giving me your email, don't worry about it. Okay? Any other questions? Anybody else?
Any of them.
Anything? Thanks for your participation, your attention, and energy, guys. I really appreciate it. This is the school's kit. But it's pretty decent little kit. I set it all up and I barely played it, so. Yeah, it's nice. Heads are pretty fresh.
This is the band's
These are my siblings.
What I got to play last year was so fun.
Check out the classes.
Wait. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, thank you so much. It's pretty decent, man. I mean, I've seen much worse.
Yeah.
Where you live?
Because I want to go like.
I live in my school.
PD day for CE.
I
But
I don't need to say.
The arc above Calgary. Rocky. And then they shifted the schedule after we picked the date.
Okay.
And I'd already registered it, so it was like, this sucks. But, oh well.
Thanks for hanging out, John.
Man, it's great. It's really good. I'm gonna hit you up
So
with
we have
those links.
John's.
Oh, cool, cool.
So, Ia is in.
I sent you my version.
Yeah, man. I got that a few years ago. I have not made it all the way through that thing.
It's warm, man. With,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's an
with,
addendum.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, so we
Collecting
have
stuff.
at 10th grade as well. So what we did was it's like.
That's super cool.
That's kind of what we done last year. So we're different at the same time. Kind of like basic, so. I got man the ship right there.
When do you know when you need to replace your heads?
Oh, well, you know, if the coated heads are like, we look at they're worn,
Yeah.
or there's no roughness left in them, especially like you can tell, because like the coated heads, right? So
Yeah.
there's, especially like, yeah, so if they're too smooth,
Yeah.
this one's kind of, well, see, the problem is like, and Jim knows this, they start to feel good.
Right,
Used to
yeah.
it. And then you forget that a fresh head makes it a lot easier because it resonates a lot more.
Right.
Whereas the deader the head gets, you lose the tone.
Okay.
So you can
If
see,
they're pitted, like
Yeah.
man, if you can see through the head,
Well,
then
I've got,
definitely,
see, okay, I've got clear heads.
yeah.
I can
Oh,
see
okay.
You know, but they're pitted.
But they're all like getting like, yeah, pitted
Yeah.
and rough and bubble.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering about too.
The posters in here.
Great, yeah, sure.
Stuff like the sweaters.
But in terms of snare caps.
yeah. Like this is
There's
relatively
also-
fresh head.
so
Yeah, so
there's-
you can start to
yeah, there's a
see.
big bag of lanyards.
You can start to see that that's depending on how much it gets played.
And I think there's some wristbands. too.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So, yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay.
Like John was saying, if you start to not feel like if you feel the edge of this here, you can feel how fresh that part is versus there, right? This is
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
So when it starts to feel glossy
Yeah.
like that.
So like this is kind of what I've got.
Yeah.
So when they start getting pitted,
Yeah.
that's when they're
Pitted or like you'll see like right here.
Yeah.
If you look at this, there's some wrinkles and like sometimes that's tuning, like they're just not tuned high enough.
Yeah.
But if you tune it up
Yeah.
and those wrinkles and stuff are still there,
Okay.
it's probably on its way up too.
Okay. Okay, so now the next question is, tuning these guys, are there several schools of thoughts on that?
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Not probably a billion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like middle of the road, high school kind of tuning, is there a school of thought on that one?
Well,
Not middle of the road.
well, yeah, it depends on the sound. I mean,
Is it genre related?
yeah, it's also the size of the drums too. I think that generally speaking, bigger drums sort of sound better and resonate more when they're tuned lower.
Right.
The smaller the drums are,
Yeah.
they might sing a little bit more tuned higher. But having said that, a middle of the road kit like this or that, it can kind of go either ways.
Okay.
So, like, if I'm playing in a small group, you can tune the drums a lot of different ways, but like, part of what makes those bebop drums sound the way they do is that the drummers are tuned them a lot higher.
Okay.
But you it's rare you hear drummers play drums tuned that high when they're playing in a big band. Because they stick out sonically and kind of rise to the top of the sound. Whereas, like, when I listen to, anybody play Basie or Duke or Mel Lewis, he's got his drums tuned lower. I mean, Mel, he played on, a lot of those drums played calfskin bands too.
Okay.
And those would have a lot of give to them too. These are synthetic calfskin bands, fiber skins. So they're supposed to sound and feel calfskin with the baggage that comes with it.
So when we say high tuning, is there a range in terms of note pitches?
Not well. Some guys get slipped, but I don't. But I mean, for me, I don't go to pitch.
You know what? There's some really good tuning apps. That have presets and like, this is a jazz setting, this is a rock setting.
Right.
And then you can just kind of take it from there.
But see, I go to feel, and because the lower the drums are tuned, the less they bounce.
Right.
So I mean, I like to. What I do is I tune the top head to get a sense of the main pitch, and then resonance is determined by the bottom head. So actually, that's pretty close.
So
They don't have to match, but if you want the drums to ring a little bit more, you tune the bottom head higher.